My name is Barbara Smith. I've been living in San Antonio for the last 10 years, but my home is actually Brooklyn, New York. I have a son. His name is Jeffrey Allen Smith. Today is his birthday. He's actually 15 years old today. And I haven't seen him in like the last 10 years. And to be honest, I feel really bad, because he called me on the phone for his birthday. He said, Mom, come and get me. And Jeffrey been calling me like for the last 10 years. Every birthday he called me and said, Mom, come get me. And I feel so bad because I can't go get him. I don't have anything to offer him. I don't have a house. I don't even have a job. I'm staying in a house with 3 other women that I have to share. So I feel really bad about it, but that's my son. But I haven't seen him in like 10 years. I feel really bad about that. And I know you guys are probably asking like, oh my God, how did you get yourself in a bad situation like that, See what happened? It was one July, and this is like back in New York. It was really hot, and I'm like, I gotta go get me something to drink. So I was walking around the store to the gas station, to get me something to drink. Because at the time, Jeffrey, he was in like daycare. So I made sure that, I dropped him off. I just got laid off from my job, so there wasn't nothing else to do but just spend some time with myself. So anyway, to make a long story short, let me go back a little bit. See, with Jeffrey, when he was little, I actually lived in my parents' house. I lived in my parents' house because my grandma Linda had died, and I was the only child, so I lived there. But my grandmother Linda was something else. She really was. It was no nursing home for her. My dad would always say if he had to choose between his mom, who was Grandma Linda, or my mom, he said he would choose his mom. And that my mom would just have to get to stepping. But that's how my dad was. But see, my Grandma Linda knew it. She knew what she could get away with. She get away with everything in the house. And she always was in somebody else's business, including mine. Now, I remember back when I was in high school. I was in high school. And every day, here I am trying to rush out the house before my Grandma Linda said anything to me. Because every time I come downstairs, here I am trying to head out the door to go to school. There she is, sitting in her chair. She's sitting in her chair. Wait 1 second. It's a chair just like this. She's sitting in a chair. And then she started rocking. And then she started smoking this pipe in the morning. Now, it wasn't a crack pipe. It was a pipe, though. And then she sit there and she just smoking this pipe. And here I come downstairs. And I'm trying to rush out the door because I knew she was going to say something to me. Every morning she says the same old thing. So here I am sitting here trying to rush out the door after eating a little something. And there she goes sitting there waiting. Young girl, you better leave them young boys alone. You hear what I say? Young girl, you better leave them young boys alone. Do you hear what I say? Yes, ma'am, I hear what you say. I had to go through this every morning with this woman. So now here I go, heading out the door, because that was my cue to leave now. She didn't say what she had to say. Now I can leave. But believe it or not, every time I leave out the house, I knew that Grandma Linda was back there looking. And there she was, peeping through the blind, just watching. But she meant good, though. She meant good. Because she really kind of like looked out after me. But it became like a broken record. You better leave those young boys alone! You better leave those young boys alone! Oh, gosh. But she meant well, I'm telling you, because you know what it made me think about? It made me think about in the Bible with Adam and Eve. When God had told Adam, he said, you can have this entire paradise, this garden, it's all yours. But that one tree over there of the good and evil, just don't go near it. Don't touch it, don't go near it, don't eat of it. But then the tempter came. And the tempter tempted Eve. And she ate and then gave it to her husband to eat. So here I am in high school. And my tempter was Jeffrey Allen Jones. Everywhere I go, there he was. girl, you look good, I love you. I mean, he was saying all the right words. So that was my tempter. Then the next thing you know, Jeffrey Allen Smith was on the way. And I was so embarrassed. Oh man, I was so embarrassed. Here I am. I was 8 months pregnant, graduating from high school. And my parents were so angry at me. Oh my God. They were so angry. And then my dad, he said he needed to talk to me. And when he said that, I knew what that meant. See, my dad, he always had to drink at least a half a bottle of whiskey before he was able to talk to me. So I knew it was coming. So here he comes in the room, and he sat down so he can have this talk with me. And this is kind of like how it went with my dad. What in the tarnation did you think you're doing? See, my dad, he didn't curse at me. So he always used words like tarnation and stuff like that, and, instead of cursing. But he wasn't finished with me, though. You're a disgrace to the human race. Just look at you. That's what just look at you. You're a disgrace. You need to go call that father and tell him to come and get you. You're a disgrace. Just look at you. And so that's what my dad would tell me. Just look at me. Yeah, but look at me, Dad. At least I graduated high school. I mean, I at least did that. I mean, and I was proud of myself. I was. So anyway, thank God for my mom. Because my mom talked to my dad. And she convinced my dad to let me stay in his house. At least until Jeffrey, my little Jeffrey, was walking. And then I thought about it. I said, I need to call his dad and see if we can make something happen. So anyway, we ended up getting an apartment together. And so the plan was that his parents and my parents was going to pay our rent for the first 6 months. And that way we can save us some money, get a job and, have some money, and live a comfortable life, and take care of our son. And so that's what the plan was. But I got a job right away at a clothing store in downtown Manhattan. And so that's why I worked at there. But it wasn't as good for Jeffrey. He couldn't find a job. So he stayed at home, watching our baby, But it wasn't a bad idea because if you think about it, daycare was so expensive. So there, we saved a little bit of money, I think, by him staying at home. Because I wasn't making that much money, but yet and still my parents and his parents, they kind of helped us out, So it all was good. I wasn't complaining, but I was the breadwinner, the family at that time, But it was all good. And then one day my parents come over for a visit. And really, to be honest, they can come anytime they want to come because they really paid the rent. They paid our bills. So it was really their apartment. We was just staying there, really. So anyway, so my dad comes in. I smelled his alcohol on his breath. So I knew what was coming next. I knew what was coming. So now he wants to talk to Jeffrey. Young man, sit down. What are your plans for my daughter? What are you going to do? When are you going to become the man of this house? In other words, when are you going to get off of your butt? Get you a job. And take care of your family. You are lazy, low down, son of a, Oh, he wanted to curse so bad, but my mom was standing right there. See, my mom is a Christian lady, so he doesn't curse around my mom. Honestly, my dad, he think if he curse or smoke around my mom, that he'll bust hell wide open. That's what he thinks. But when it comes to drinking, you know what he tells my mom? Jesus turned water into wine. So it can't be that bad. So that's what he would tell my mom, and that's how he handled it. But he wasn't finished with Jeffrey. He badgered Jeffrey and badgered Jeffrey so bad that, Jeffrey finally told my dad, he said, look, I'm going to marry your daughter, I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to give Jeffrey my last name. But that's not how it turned out. What ended up happening the next day, I went to work. And Jeffrey took our son to his parents' house for them to babysit while he hung out with his friends. So now he's hanging out with his friends, and they hear Jeffrey tell it that they were at the mall for him to buy me my wedding ring. But Stan had a gun with him, and he said he didn't know it. So what ended up happening was Stan ended up killing the security guard. And then now all of them are in prison for life. And that was it. That's what happened to my father, my child. Now he's in jail for life. And sometimes I want to blame my dad because I'm like, if he would have didn't badger him, he would have got a job eventually. But now he's out there robbing and... Well, anyway, to make a long story short, I was so embarrassed. But then I was so afraid. Because now I'm in this house, this apartment by myself, you know. So I called my mom. I said, Mom. And I told her everything. I said, Mom, Jeffrey is not coming back, Mom. And I've been taking off work because I don't have a babysitter. And little Jeffrey keep asking for his daddy, Mom. He wants his daddy. And I don't know what to do. So my mom, she ended up paying for the daycare for Jeffrey. Then I was able to go back to my job and work, you know, for a while. But then the phone call came. My mom called me and I could hear my dad in the background. Why, God? Why, God? And what happened was Grandma Linda died in her sleep. And after that, my dad was never the same. He was never the same. And then eventually he called me one day. And he told me that he wanted me to move back home, me and Jeffrey. By then Jeffrey's about like 2 years old. And he wanted me to move back home. And the first thing I'm thinking, oh my God, my dad must gonna be, he get ready to die. The doctor must have gave him some bad news. He must only have a week to live, maybe 2 weeks. Something is wrong with my dad for him to change like that. But come to find out, Grandma Linda had a lucrative insurance policy. And my dad was more concerned that if he didn't change his ways, that he might die before he could spend all that money. So therefore, he was wanting to change that about himself. And that, I mean, that's what he did. Now I got a new dad. And so now I moved back home with my parents. And it wasn't all bad. But see, I was the only child, so I felt as though that's the thing to do anyway. So I moved back home with them. And it was all nice because my dad actually built a 2-bedroom apartment in the back of the house. And that's where I live with my son. You know, we live back there. So back in July, when that hot day in the summer, when I was on my way to the gas station, here I go going to the gas station. Oh my God, I just needed a soda like crazy. So I pull up at the gas station, I happen to look, and this guy, he had this lime green car he had pulled up. And the music was just playing, you could just hear it, was sounding good. And then he had like these rims on his car. I mean, they had to cost at least over $1,000 each. Each rim over $1,000 on this car. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. And then all of a sudden, this guy gets out. He's like 6'4", trim body, nice haircut. And I looked at him. And then I turned away. And then I headed into the store to get my soda. Then the next thing I know, he opened the door for me. And then he said, hey babe, what's your name? And I turned around and I was in shock. I'm like, oh my God, he called me the B word. He called me the B word. Wow. And then I thought about it. I said, it's been a long time since I've been called a B word. Actually, I was called 2 B words. And this was all throughout high school. I was called Bony Barber. You see, at that time I was skinny as a toothpick. I had no meat on my bones whatsoever. But now, I mean, I didn't feel out, you know, since I didn't have my son. But at the time, oh my God. You know, so anyway, so he asked me for my name, and I turned around and I said, my name is Barbara Smith. You know, I just wanted something to think about, you know. So then I go to the cooler, get my drink. Now I'm heading to the register to pay for it. I didn't know he was behind me in line. So here I go take my money out to give the cashier. He said, hey babe, don't worry, I got that. You want anything else? And then when he said that, I turned around and I started to get kind of a little flirtatious with him. So I looked him up and I looked him down. Then I looked him up and then I looked him down. And then I told him, I said, nah, I'm good. Then I walked out the store. And then while he was over there pumping his gas, I went over there and I told him, I just want to say thank you, you know, for the soda, thank you. He said, well, babe, what you doing for lunch? And I thought about lunch. And see, where this gas station was, like right across the highway, was like a lot of restaurants there. And I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna treat me to lunch? I mean, there was like a Taco Bell. There was a Wendy's. There was a McDonald's. And there was a Burger King. Oh my God, I love Burger King. So anyway, so I got in his car. We drove across the highway on the other side of the street. We go into Burger King. And see, normally I go to Burger King, I normally get like a Whopper Jr., because I'm trying to maintain all this. So I go in there, and I'm ready to order my Whopper Jr. like I normally do. So he said, hey, babe, what you want to get, babe? And so I told him, I said, oh, I just want a Whopper Jr. And before I can get the J out, he already ordered me a Whopper. So now here we go, sitting at our table, 2 Whoppers. He had one, I had one. He had his fries, I had my fries. And now I had another drink. So now I got a drink with ice. And then I got the soda that he brought for me at the gas station. So we sit there, looking at each other in the eyes, just falling bad in love by the minute. Because we knew we was meant for each other. We could just tell. We just sat there finishing each other's sentences. He dipped his fries in the ketchup the same time I dipped mine. Oh my God, it was heaven. So anyway, to make a long story short, after we finished our meal, he told me that he wanted to hang out with me, in the evening time, like a nice quiet place, And to me, like all types of stuff is going in my head when I think of quiet places. Okay. So anyway, to make a long story short, so I rushed home, picked Jeffrey up from the daycare, feed him, give him his bath, put him to bed, and then now it's time for me to go meet Ricky that night. So it took me 2 buses and a train to get there. But it was at 5th and Lenox. That's where the Motel 6 was. So I pulled up there. It was room number 103. So I knocked on the door. There was Ricky. And so I can hear like this soft, like smooth jazz music playing in the background. And his cologne was smelling so good. And he had went to KFC and brought us some chicken dinners. So anyway, we sat there and ate our box of chicken. Talked a little bit. Had a real nice time. And then I told him, I said, well, I gotta head back home, because I got a son, waiting on me. I gotta get him up in the morning, daycare, feed him, so forth. And then Ricky's like, but babe, I want you to stay, babe, stay, babe, stay, babe, please, stay. And I explained, I said, I can't. I got Jeffrey at home. Jeffrey is waiting on me. I got to take care of my son. So eventually, Ricky, he met Jeffrey. And he fell in love with my son Jeffrey. He fell in love with him. And so from that point on, we knew that we were meant to be together. We was meant to be a family, So now that's what we were planning. Now see, Ricky was planning on moving to San Antonio. But now he included me and Jeffrey in the plans. So he told me, he said, babe, let me get situated and I'm going to send for you. And lo and behold, the next thing I know, I get these 2 tickets in the mail. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it, but I was ready. I had Jeffrey, all this stuff ready, packed up. And now here we go. Ready to leave New York to head to San Antonio. He actually sent me 2 tickets for the Greyhound bus. So we got on the bus, and that was a long ride. From New York to San Antonio, that was a long ride, But I wasn't even thinking about it because I was thinking about Ricky the entire time. So the seat, even though it was like a hard seat, but the more I thought about Ricky, the softer that seat became. And then next thing I know, here we are. We in San Antonio. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. Because I didn't even have to work. I lived in this nice apartment. It was really nice. All I had to do was make sure I had Ricky's meal cooked when he come home. And that's about it, But it was really nice, though, because, I'm used to being up north with snow and the ice. And now here I am with sunshine and a lot of, like, burritos and tacos. It was really nice. And so I really was enjoying that, And then I met our neighbor, Miss Sanchez. Woo! She reminded me so much of my grandma Linda, I tell you. Oh, she reminded me of her. You know what she asked me? She asked me this question. She said, how much do you really know about Ricky? And I was like, what? And then I thought about it, and I tried to laugh it off at first, you know. But then I realized, how much do I know about Ricky? Do I really know anything about him? Now, I remember Ricky telling me that he was into pharmaceuticals. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, he works at the hospital. I just don't know what he does at the hospital. Because he's there all day, and then he don't come home until like at night, or sometimes in the evening. And so anyway, I decided to find out the answer to her question. So when my man came home, I made sure that I cooked him a good meal. I made sure that I ran his bath water. I ended up giving him a nice massage with oil and everything. And I mean everything. And then I asked the question. I said, hey, babe, what kind of work do you do at the hospital all day? Oh, man. Oh, man. I asked him that question. And all of a sudden, he jumped up from the bed, started stomping across the floor, started getting the dresser drawers and pulling them in and out. And then he went and slammed the bedroom door. Then he said to me, "You B, don't you ever ask me again, what do I do?" And I'm like, oh my God. And then he went even further than that. He got even deeper on me. He said, "You stupid B, don't you ever ask me what I do." Then at that point, I was like, oh my God. He called me the B word twice. But it wasn't Bonnie Barber. It wasn't Bonnie Barber. So anyway, to make a long story short, and I'm going to wrap this up really quickly here. Ricky and I, we broke up. Jeffrey, I haven't seen him in 10 years. I'm getting ready to get on the train. And I'm going to go see my son. I miss him. He's my life. I've done some mean things in life. Y'all just don't know, but I don't want to talk about it now. But it's not good.